Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're joined by Seton Hall University. They're going to be discussing their graduate program in diplomacy and international relations today. But before that, I am going to give everybody a short introduction about Education USA Pakistan and what we do. It's going to share my screen. I hope everybody can see my screen. Okay, so Education US in Pakistan is called USEFP, which is short for the US Education Foundation in Pakistan. We provide advising in each of the three major cities in Pakistan, that's Karachi, Lahore, Islamabad, with personalized guidance. Our flagship program is the Fulbright program, of which I am an alumna myself. I did my Fulbright at the George Washington University, where I pursued a master's in international development studies with a concentration in climate resilience and sustainability. And I graduated only last year. My program was from 2023 to 2025. So, what is the Fulbright program? So, the Fulbright program supports Pakistani students who wish to pursue graduate education in the US, whether it's a master's program or a PhD program. The Fulbright program is a fully funded scholarship that provides not only a tuition fee waiver but also a monthly stipend that covers students' accommodation, food, transportation, and books as well. So, what is Education USA? So, Education USA is present everywhere there is a US embassy. We are part of the US Department of State, and we provide accurate, current, and comprehensive information. We also offer resources, guidance, and advice on how to find the best fit university. So, what services do we provide? We provide one-on-one advising services, also free in-house or virtual sessions like the one that we're having right now. We also offer free workshops on the GRE, SAT, and TOEFL, and you can also access our resource library if you visit us in person. So, in addition to the three advising centers in Karachi, Lahore, Islamabad, we also have Lincoln Corners in Punjab, and they are present in other provinces as well. In Punjab, we have them in collaboration with universities. We have one in Lahore, which is located in the Qaid Azam Library. We have one in Sargodha, Faisalabad, Multan, and Bihari, and you can visit us anytime during the day between 9 to 5, and feel free to access our resource library and our resources there. So what you can do is that you can register for our free Education US advising services if you're looking to pursue either an undergrad, master's, or PhD in the United States. Go to our website, go to educationusa.pk/register, put down your contact information, and you should be able to receive information on all of our weekly webinars, and these are free to attend. Or if you have a query, you can email us at lahore@educationusa.org. All our webinar recordings are posted on our YouTube page, so feel free to follow us on social media on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Instagram to stay updated. We also closely collaborate with the US Embassy in Pakistan and the US Consul General in Lahore, so feel free to follow the US Consulate in Lahore on Instagram at lahore.usconsulate, on X, and on Facebook as well. So that's it from my end. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A, and we'll get to them by the end of the webinar. Over to you, Ryan.
All right. Well, hello and good morning, everyone from South Orange, New Jersey, and definitely good evening to all of you in Pakistan. Thank you for joining the session today, and we definitely want to say thank you to Education USA Pakistan for organizing and inviting us to do this webinar. Today, we will be sharing with you information about Seton Hall University, but more specifically, our School of Diplomacy and International Relations. So if you ever have thought about pursuing a career in diplomacy or international relations, or are looking to advance your career in the field, you have definitely come to the right place. And I'm sure we all know we definitely need a little more diplomacy going on in the world right now. My name is Ryan Hemish, and I am the Assistant Director for Graduate Admissions and Recruitment here at Seton Hall. I'll kind of be like the host for the most part, but at this time I would also like to introduce the main presenters for this evening, which all come from the School of Diplomacy and International Relations. We have the Dean of the school, Dr. Courtney Smith. one of our school's faculty members, Father Brian Muzas, one of our students from Pakistan within the School of Diplomacy, Safan Ali, and another student of ours and graduate assistant, Kayla McIntyre. Um, so for today's presentation, first I will do a little introduction about Seton Hall, and then I'll pass it over to the School of Diplomacy. They'll definitely dive into, the school itself and all the advantages and opportunities the school offers. Father Muzas will jump on and speak more about his initiatives related to Pakistan, and as well as Safan Ali will join in as well too to share about his experiences, and then we'll dive further into the programs themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up a PowerPoint now and to get things started here. Okay, there we go. All right, so Seton Hall is a home for the mind, heart, and spirit. We really want to nurture, challenge, and grow all three aspects of a person that comes to study with us. The school itself was founded in 1856 by Reverend James Roosevelt Bailey, the first bishop of Newark, and named after Elizabeth Ann Seton, the first American-born saint. She really led the way for parochial education here in the United States. Seton Hall is one of the country's leading Catholic universities. U.S. News and World Report always ranks us as one of the top universities in the nation, as well as one of the top 20 Catholic universities in the nation. However, we are open to people of all faiths, creeds, and colors. We are a diverse, welcoming community that is founded on respect, understanding, compassion, integrity, and servant leadership. Just a quick little glance at our graduate programs. We do have well over 90 graduate programs spread across 8 of our schools and colleges on campus. Our school really prides itself on having a low student to faculty ratio so that every faculty member can help guide their students throughout the program and pursuing their career objectives. There are a total of over 3,000 graduate students on our campus. So about 2,000 of those are at the master's degree level, and a little over 1,000 of those are at the PhD level. And so in total, when you combine our graduate students with our undergraduate population, we do have over 10,000 students studying on campus and online, coming from 43 countries and 46 states. So with that, and not only is the school itself is highly ranked, but our College of or our School of Diplomacy and International Relations is also very highly ranked. And with that, I will pass it off to Dr. Courtney Smith to go further into the rankings and start talking about the school.
Thank you very much, Ryan. So a pleasure to be speaking with you all this evening. Want to say Ryan indicated a minute ago that we really do need more diplomacy in the world, and we as Americans are grateful for the role that Pakistan is playing right now, trying to resolve the war with Iran. Very difficult situation, very divided in our country, global implications, and when a country like Pakistan can step up, it shows how there is space for diplomacy around the world with a lot of actors playing that role. What I'd like to do, Ryan was mentioning how highly ranked Seton Hall is. The school of diplomacy is also very highly ranked. Foreign Policy Magazine does a survey every a few years, and they ask about 900 different scholars and about 300 different policymakers where is the best place in the world to earn a graduate degree in international affairs. And Ryan, I'm still seeing, I don't know if others are, but I'm still on the home for heart, mind, and spirit slide. I don't know if that's just me, if others are seeing the same slide, but I'm not seeing the ranking slide.
Is it same for everyone?
Yes.
Is that better?
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So good. That way you can see the data that I'm mentioning here. So I mentioned that they surveyed 900 different scholars, and those scholars ranked us 30th in the world of anywhere in the possible world you could study this field, and policymakers ranked us 32nd. I think there's a lot of different reasons why that's true, and colleagues and I will help demonstrate that, I think, over the next few minutes. But if you're like a lot of students, you'll be looking at different places where you could study international affairs, and we are a very unique place to do that. And an easy way to kind of remember the key features of our program is to remember our name. We're the School of Diplomacy. Our students have long called themselves the Diplo community. I have to be perfectly honest with you. Initially, I wasn't sure, Diplo community, but now I really understand that the students really do have a certain culture about them. And if you remember that Diplo thing, you will remember the key parts about us. The D stands for diversity. We do have diversity of students from around the world, from many different countries and racial and ethnic backgrounds. But what I'd really like to highlight is that we have a diversity of viewpoints. International issues are complex. They're hard to solve, and that's because there are very different views about what the origins of those issues and what are fair and just solutions. You will not agree with all the perspectives that you're exposed to in our program, but you will need to at least understand them. So that way, as you advance in your careers, you can work with those different viewpoints, looking for common solutions. A second thing about us is that we are a professional school of international affairs. That means everything we do is designed to help you take the interest and the passion that you have for international issues and develop your knowledge and skills so that you can work to address those issues. We have to connect theory and practice. We do this in the classroom using the very small class sizes that Ryan mentioned, a very top-notch faculty, and a lot of active learning exercises like role-playing, simulations, case studies, group work. Outside of the classroom, we provide you with a lot of active learning opportunities, experiential education opportunities, internships, policy programs. I'll come after you hear from our colleague, Professor Muthas. I'll come back and describe a couple of those for you. And then what we'll do is talk about leadership. And the key about leadership here is the leadership that's exhibited by our students and by our faculty. Kayla, a little later, will give you details about our faculty, but I just want to foreshadow there's kind of three key things that you'll learn about the leadership of our faculty. The first is that they are outstanding teachers, dedicated in the classroom, very much mentor their students. Second is that they do high quality research published by top university presses like Cambridge, Oxford, Columbia University Press. And they involve students in that research through our research centers, through our National Security Fellowship Program. And we'll have slides on these different things a little bit later to talk about the leadership that our students and faculty exhibit in our program. All of this is so that you can take ownership of your future careers. We want you taking ownership of your path here. We've got multiple different degree programs that Kayla will lay out for you, and you'll pick the ones that are most relevant to your professional growth, the next step in your career, and then that will help launch you onto a successful career through our internship program, our professional development advising, and initiatives like that. One of the things that really helps us do this theory and practice, this unique education, is our location. We are located in northern New Jersey, right outside of New York City. In fact, I will be, after some meetings this afternoon, I'll actually be at a UN-related event in New York City this evening. All you do is you just walk down the hill, you hop on a train for 30 minutes, and you're right in the center of New York City. That means that our students get all the benefits of being near New York City, but not having the crowdedness. So the center picture on the slide is the village where our school is located, and yet the UN that's at the top of the slide is just that 15 miles away. And if you want another center of international diplomacy, Washington, D.C., that's a 2.5-hour train ride away. And we have a professor who teaches classes for us this semester, who's a State Department official, comes up every Friday. I was just talking to him in the hallway. He'll teach our students. This afternoon, afternoon, he actually happens to be doing a global health workshop, and then he'll head back down to DC later in the day. It's that easy. So we really try and take advantage of our location to give our students an excellent learning experience. And it is also a great opportunity for our award-winning faculty. So I'd like to introduce again Father Brian Muthas. Father Brian has a very interesting background. He began his studies in his career as a mechanical and aerospace engineer. Then he was called to the priesthood and was ordained and started serving in a parish. Then he was, I guess, called again in a way. I got interested in international issues, earned his PhD, and studied several different things. One is nuclear security related issues, but he's also very interested in interreligious issues, in particular, the relations between the United States and Pakistan. And I think that's the specific topic that he's going to be addressing with us today. So I will turn it over to Father Muzas.
Thank you, Dean Smith. As Dean Smith said, my name is Father Brian, and it's a pleasure to address everybody, whether it's morning or evening, where you are. I am one of the faculty members, and I think the best way to talk about the Pakistan-focused elements of what I do that Ryan was hinting at would be to start talking about what I do at the UN, because I've been very involved in UN civil society and the NGO community. In fact, in the past, I've served as the secretary and currently serve as the treasurer of the Global NGO Executive Committee, which is kind of the funnel between UN civil society and the UN's Department of Global Communication, which for many years was known as the Department of Public Information. And you can see how a university would have a natural, you could say, alliance or partnership almost with a UN office like that. But another UN NGO had started a program called UPIC, which at the time was the US-Pakistan Interreligious Consortium, but which eventually developed into the US-Pakistan Intercultural Coalition. And when the original sponsoring NGO rode off into the sunset, in my role as director of the Center for UN and Global Governance Studies here at Seton Hall's Diplomacy School, I was able to bring UPIC under the wing of that UN center. And our UN Center and our UN programs like UPIC matter because we are able to connect them to courses. And one example of that would be our UN Field Seminar course, where we bring students to the UN, or we bring the UN to campus and to the students, depending on availability. But also, I'd like to talk about a course that I'm actually running right now. It's called Religion, Race, and International Relations. And UPIC has been supporting this course very much because at the beginning of the semester, we received an internal university grant, which here at Seton Hall University we call Idea Hall. And this Idea Hall grant has enabled us to, in addition to having lectures, readings, and student-led discussions as you might have in a conventional classroom, we've been able to bring together this class and partner with other units on the university and also partners outside of the university so that we could have public skill building events and work with our partners to have the students do things that are real. And I'll just speak about a few of our external partners. One of them is Just Results, which is a social enterprise based in Washington, D.C. One of them is the Rose Castle Foundation, which is in the United Kingdom, which focuses on interreligious understanding and peacemaking. And a third is Pink Detect, which is a Pakistani-based NGO, which has developed an app that you can download on your phone and which allows people to get information and self-diagnosis help for breast cancer, which many people know that Pakistan has the highest rate of breast cancer in Southeast Asia. And so by partnering with organizations like these, we've been able to have the students partake in skill building, public workshops, and make digital artifacts, including uh, social media campaigns that will be used as Pink Detect starts to expand its scope of work into East Africa, but also has culminated in a hackathon where all of the guest speakers from our different external organizations came back to judge the work and the prototypes that our students developed as part of this class. And to double down on how impactful these real world experiences are, the students whose hackathon project was judged the best are being given externships by Pink Detect, which they will utilize this summer to go even deeper and polish their skills even more. I also am happy to share some brand new news that came through only yesterday. Just Results was so impressed by the work that our students have done that they have invited Seton Hall students to apply for their summer internship program, even though the deadline officially passed, because they have seen what an education our students have received and they want to uh, avail themselves of that by offering our students the opportunity to apply for those internships. So, with that in mind, I should also say that we have other uh, courses that connect to Pakistan. In addition to the UN Field Seminar, which I mentioned, we have a an online only asynchronous course on US-Pakistan relations, which treats the geopolitics, the religion, and the cultural aspects of that relationship in great depth. I'm going to, at this point, say that it's one thing to hear the professor say things, but what do the students actually think? And for that reason, I would like to pass the floor to Safwan Ali, who is one of our students at the university. He has been a student of mine in the UN Field Seminar, which is where he first was exposed to UPIC. He has been a graduate assistant of mine helping to run the UN Center, and he has also been involved in UPIC itself. And so, Safwan, the floor is yours. Tell them what you would like to add to what's already been said.
Thank you very much, Father Brian. It's really been an honor. And good evening, everyone in Pakistan. Assalamu alaikum. Um, so, just to start off with this presentation, the information that you've received so far, you would start feeling that, oh, School of Diplomacy is connected a lot with Pakistan. This is something that I didn't know. When I came here, my first interaction with Father Brian was, well, I'm from NDU. Father Brian said, I've been to National Defense University in Islamabad. So that's how it started. And gradually, I built those connections, and it turned out that School of Diplomacy is really, really close to Pakistan as well as the United Nations, as we've just mentioned. My program is Masters in Diplomacy and International Relations. And I am just graduating next month, hopefully. And then also through this School of Diplomacy, I've been the participant of the courses that Father Brian just mentioned, and the U.S. Pakistan Intercultural Coalition. Last week we had a very good event of the U.S. Pakistan Intercultural Coalition where we've been partnering with different institutions outside and other nonprofits. And as Father Brian mentioned, the UPIC is a very they've done a phenomenal work in Pakistan, like the remote areas in Sindh. So it's a very great collaboration. Other than that, I've also been working with Father Brian as a research assistant. Through this assistantship, I've been exposed to different type of programs that includes doing the research for the Father Brian, as well as building the connections and reaching out to different organizations within the school, within the university. For example, we've been working with the TLTC, which is media, and we were working to develop our website, and that has really been, been a very good experience for me, because it's not only like I'm working here and I'm doing the studies and academic work, but also giving the professional growth that I've been able to do over here at the School of Diplomacy. As just Dean Courtney Smith mentioned, being close to New York, I also had the great privilege to work for the United Nations, for the Pakistani mission to the United Nations. And that was the highlight of my master's overall, because being close to New York and also having this connection, School of Diplomacy has a very good connection with the United Nations. And building on that experience, I was able to do a 6 months internship with the Pakistani mission, and that was a great experience. Given on my specialties, my specialization is international security and foreign policy analysis. And if you guys know, Pakistan right now is in the Security Council for 2 years time. So that was a very huge experience to go and experience. Can you hear me?
I can
I
hear
think the
you.
background noise went away, Safwan. I think you're okay now.
Okay, all right. So yeah, this is my experience so far with the School of Diplomacy. It involves a lot of academic work as well as different professional growth and internships. So if you have any questions for how to apply to the program, and any assistance that you may need, I would be grateful to answer all of your questions. And now I will pass on to Kyla. She's
No, I think it's
also
coming back to
one
me
of the.
actually first, Safwan.
Oh,
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Father Brian and Safwan. I tell you, I've participated in some of the programs that the two of them have organized through the Ideal Hall and UPIC this semester, and I've just been really impressed. What's really impressed me, I think, the most is how this initiative has integrated so many different types of organizations and initiatives, different types of actors with very, very different backgrounds and specialties to come together and address common problems. And I think that's a key theme moving forward in international affairs. Issues are so complex and so far flung that we need people to be graduating from our program that have that capacity to build those kinds of networks, because we do have very strong career outcomes. And as you'll see on the current slide here, we survey our alumni on 3-year cycles. So the pie chart on the slide is the cycle from 2022 to 2024, and it shows you the different areas where our alumni went into the field. And you'll notice that during this period coming out of the pandemic, that it's a fairly high number ended up in the private sector, higher than before the pandemic. I think if you had been watching this slideshow before the pandemic, the three pieces of that pie chart would have been basically very close to each other. But in the year since the pandemic, more of our students have gone on, more of our graduates, have landed jobs in the private sector and the public sector, and a little bit less in the nonprofit sector. But of course, this data changes from year to year. We constantly update it and report it. So that way, as students, prospective students, you want to make sure you're going to a program where you're getting a degree that is worth that investment. And that's one of the reasons why we're also very upfront about what the average salary that our students report to us that they receive upon graduation down there at the bottom. And that's in US dollars. The types of positions that they go into can be a wide range. You'll see some of the employers there. A couple of them are a private sector. There's U.S. Domestic political offices, international offices. the Institute of International Education. We have probably 5 alumni there alone working there, and they run the U.S. side of the Fulbright program that our colleagues from Education USA and Pakistan were talking about at the beginning of the program. And then you see the RAND is a well-known think tank in the United States. UN missions would refer to like the internship that Safwan just talked about having here. I'm frequently jealous of the internships that our students have as a UN scholar and the great offices and things they get to do at the UN and other places. The reason why we have these strong outcomes is we have a very robust Office of Internships and Career Development. The next slide will give you just a little view of what that office does. But it is based within the school, and they do kind of the basic stuff once you arrive to help you start building or continue building your professional profile, get you online with LinkedIn, work on resumes, cover letters, things like that. But then it's much more tailored one-on-one assistance. What are your career goals? Where are you in your career goals? What would be different paths that you might want to take? Okay, what kind of internship can we place you in? Our internship program is required of all students that are in our Master of Arts programs, and those are kind of the ones that are available to you if you're early in your career. Kayla will also go over our mid-career Master of Science programs. Those don't require an internship because they're mid-career, but you do have flexibility that if you wanted to do an internship in that mid-career program, you still could. But we feel that these internships are absolutely essential because if you are early in your career and you're in our MA program, by the time you graduate, you want to be able to have those professional experiences on your resume, and that's something that Safwan can now do. The office will work with you based on, we've placed students at over 650 places before, so we could look at one of those, or you may have goals to be at a place that we haven't used before, and we'll work with you to help secure that. You may in fact have a connection or a network of your own and have a spot, and then we'll just look at it and make sure it's helping with your professional development. You can do these internships here in New York if you do them during the fall or spring semester or in the summer. If you want to do them back in Pakistan or anywhere else around the world, that would tend to be something in the summer when you don't have other class obligations. But we also have an opportunity where you can do your internship throughout the year in the fall or spring semester in Washington, D.C. So if you'd like to be able to study at a program near New York and everything the UN has to offer, but also have access to Washington, D.C., you should come to us because we have a semester in Washington program where we offer classes there. They're School of Diplomacy classes. So you do your internship, you take our classes. They're taught by Ray Walser, who's on the slide there, a professor of practice, who was a career U.S. Foreign Service officer, then worked at a well-known think tank called the Heritage Foundation. He teaches 2 classes to you, and then you do your internship the rest of the week, and that allows you to stay a full-time student. Any scholarships that you get from Seton Hall, and I've seen a number of financial aid questions in the chat. We've got a slide on financial aid a little bit later on, and hopefully that'll answer all your questions. That goes with you to Washington, D.C. So it's a great way to experience the nation's capital. We have another way that our students get down to Washington, D.C., and that's through our National Security Fellowship Program, which is on the next slide. This is a group of about a dozen graduate students in the School of Diplomacy, and they work with a professor of practice named Mo Megahari, who's there on the slide. And his background is in the State Department, the Defense Department, and the Department of Homeland Security. And each year he uses those contacts to have an office, usually the Pentagon or the State Department, give our students a policy project. And they're given that policy project in the fall. They do research through open sources. The professor brings in other practitioners that the students can interview and bounce ideas off of. They start developing policy recommendations. And in February, they took those policy recommendations to Tokyo, and they presented to U.S. military offices in Japan and also Japanese government agencies. And now a larger group of students later this month, in fact, 2 weeks from in 2 weeks, will be down in Washington, D.C. at the State Department presenting their research to the Bureau of Intelligence and Research, because the clients tend to alternate between the State Department and Defense Department. These are the actual practitioners that hear from our students, ask them questions, and every single year, this is the 9th year we've had this program, every single year the office that they present to will then recommend to other offices, hey, you should hear what these students are doing as well, because it's that high quality. Another opportunity that is related to some of the stuff that Father Brian talked about, he mentioned the UN Field Seminar that he teaches and that Safwan took. Safwan also did the UN Summer Program that I teach. This is a program that we've run for 27 years. It's open to Seton Hall students and students from around the world. It's 1 week in the summer where you do work ahead of time remotely and afterwards remotely, but all the contact hours are compressed into 1 week, so that way it doesn't get in the way of your other summer commitments. And you spend all day, every day at the UN meeting with 25 practitioners throughout the week. These are off the record, informal conversations where they give you about 10 minutes of opening remarks, and then we have an hour of discussion where it's totally driven by the student questions, the student perspectives. These are people that work throughout the UN system, in the International Civil Service, at missions, telling you about what's going well in their work, what are the challenges they face, giving their frank and candid assessment and advice to help our students along in their professional development. So a lot of different ways that we want to help get our students off of campus to meet with practitioners, but we also have a strong commitment to bringing those practitioners to campus through initiatives like our World Leaders Forum. So to talk about that, I'd like to turn it over to Kayla.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kayla McIntyre. I am a graduate assistant here at the School of Diplomacy. I am also a second-year grad student, graduating this May. And what Dean Smith has mentioned is bringing leaders onto campus, and we do that with our World Leaders Forum. And with that, we have a roundtable discussion, or almost like a fireside chat, where we have students bring questions to these leaders. We have Linda Thomas Greenfield, who is the U.S. ambassador to the UN, Nadia Murad, who is a Nobel Peace Prize laureate, Kofi Annan, former UN Secretary General, and just recently we had the head nuncio, the Archbishop, to the permanent observer mission of the Holy See to the U.S. That was just here last semester, and now he is, if I'm not mistaken, the Holy Nuncio to the US now. So you will have opportunities to actually meet with and speak to these leaders and ask them questions about their role in peacekeeping and peacemaking and diplomatic practice. And if we go to the other slide with studying with experts, we have an entire roster of professors that are experts in their fields. You have just met Father Brian. He is excellent when it comes to security, nuclear disarmament, and religion. But we also have several other professors, like Professor Huddleston, who just came back from Washington, working with different senators and taking information. You have Professor Goldfrank, who is an expert in U.S. and Latin American relations, or Professor Mormon, who is quite extensive in the field of international law. And one thing about our school is that we pride ourselves on having some of the best professors on campus. And so we actually have an award that goes out every year for best professors. And we are a pretty small school. However, we have won majority of the times. And that also goes for online professors. Professor McCormick Hale was actually the first person or first professor to actually win that award. And speaking of Professor McCormick Hale, she is amazing. And she actually have a class where you can go to Sierra Leone. I actually just recently came back from that course. It's an embedded spring semester or spring break course where you go to Sierra Leone and you talk about peace building after post in a post-conflict country. So if we go to the next slide, we have our research centers. So our research centers are actually headed by our professors, and there you will be able to work with these professors on issues that particularly interest you. So we do have a Center for Foreign Policy Studies, Center for Peace and Conflict Studies, Center for Global Health Studies, and the Center for UN and Global Governance Studies. For the Center of Peace and Conflict, you might be working with Professor Wong, who really teaches you about the ins and outs of negotiation, and global health studies with Professor Huang. It is quite immersive, and you will be able to have the opportunity to conduct research to um, go more into the fields of what you want out of your degree. And speaking of degrees, if we go to the next slide, okay, is it? Okay, there we go. We have multiple degrees and multiple degree offerings, with the most popular one being the Master of Arts, like Dean Smith have mentioned before. This one is mainly for those that are in the beginnings of their careers. So that is a 45 credit or a 2-year program that you would be taking. It is a foundational program where you do have 2 specializations. And then for those that are in mid-career, um, you would also have an executive MS in international affairs. So with the executive MS, we actually look for people that have at least 7 years of professional experience that wish to come back and continue their education. And that only includes 1 specialization, which is the next slide after that I will get into. However, this is an in-person or online option. And with the MA, going back to that, there are dual degree programs, meaning in which you can get an MA with a JD, which is in collaboration with our Seton Hall Law School. You can get a Master's of Public Affairs, a Master's of Business Administration, or a Master's in Communication. So you will take 30 credits with Seton Hall, and then you would take the rest of your credit coursework with the business school, the communication school, or the School of Public Affairs. And then there's also graduate certificates that is usually marketed towards our current master's students, where they can go even further within specializations, specifically like their 1-year programs and in United Nations studies, global health management, or post-conflict state reconstruction and sustainability. And then we have our UNITAR modules. So the Executive MS in International Affairs and Diplomatic Practice is a mostly or all online program where you actually work with the United Nations UNITAR modules, and majority of those modules the UN will give you. And then all of your other credit works, you will work with us. And if we go to the next slide, as we mentioned, all Mass MA students have 2 specializations. Some executive MS have 1. And these are the ones or the focuses that you really want to focus on within your degree. So for me, for example, I am in international law and human rights and international organizations um, specializations, and we focus. You have classes that are specifically tailored to these specializations to help you get where you want in your career. So you have your functional specializations and then your regional specializations. I will say with regional specializations, if you pick one, it will be best to actually learn or speak the language of the region that you want to specialize in. Um, some of them with the red asterisks are available also on our online courses, but most of them are in person. So that includes foreign policy analysis, global health and human security, negotiations, economics, security, international law, international organizations, and then post-conflict state reconstruction and sustainability. And you can basically pick 2 functional specializations, or you can pick a functional and a regional. And then going to the last slide that I have, we actually are offering a new 2 new courses. So the MS in Homeland Security and Cyber Resilience was actually just piloted, or it just started, I believe, within the past school year. And that is a 30 credit curriculum. You do not need professional experience in order to take this. You will be working with cybersecurity law, um, security modules here, and also in congruence with the law school. And then we just got approved for a MS in conflict and security analysis coming fall 2026, and you can receive information regarding that once we have more information to bring out. But we just had our curriculum approved, and that would work with different STEM classes that you would take on cybersecurity, and then taking that with diplomacy classes on how to uh, keep or essentially how to look at global conflict reconstruction or civil defense. And I will hand it back to Ryan. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Kayla. Yep. And now I'll just to start wrapping things up, I'll go over just quickly the application process. So to apply, you can fill out an online application. You can scan the QR code there to go right to the application. We do have rolling admissions, so you can still apply for this coming fall semester. Otherwise, we have fall and spring intakes. For joining us today, we're happy to share with you an application fee waiver code, which is, if you can see in the slide there, it's GFW, capital G, capital F, capital W. If you enter that code in the application, that will waive our $75 application fee. From there, you have to submit your supporting documents, like your personal statement, resume. You'll need to have sent to us two letters of recommendation, and then we need to receive your official transcripts from your previous institutions. Coming from Pakistan, if you studied at a university in Pakistan, you will need to get an international transcript evaluation done from a NACES accredited evaluation company. We do work with the evaluation company, or formerly known as Spantran, which we'd be happy to share a code with you or a link to that as well, to get that discounted rate with them. And then you'll also need to submit an English proficiency exam. We do accept the TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo. Next, we'll just go over our opportunities, to help you with your funding for your tuition. After being accepted to your program, you will automatically be considered for our graduate merit scholarship. So you do not need to fill out a separate application. As the name implies, it is all based on merit. For students going into our School of Diplomacy and International Relations, some of the scholarships can get up to 60% of tuition from the Graduate Merit Scholarship, as well as then possibly on top of that, the School of Diplomacy also offers additional merit-based scholarships. As you can see, anything from like research assistantships, graduate fellowships, and the Dean Scholarship. Those could range anywhere between 10 to maybe 30% of tuition. And those once again, can be put on top of the Graduate Merit Scholarship. Then, as both Kayla and Safwan have done, they have been graduate assistants. So you can also apply for graduate assistantships once you have been accepted to the school. Positions are really spread across campus in all of our schools, colleges, offices, administrative offices, including my office, the Office of Graduate Affairs. If a student secures a full-time position, that will pay for 12 credits per semester, and you are also provided with a monthly stipend as well. There are also part-time positions available, and which would pay for 6 credits per semester. So as mentioned, there are numerous graduate assistantship positions across campus. They are competitive, we recommend that apply to all that align with your background, your skills, your knowledge, to give you the best chance of securing one. So with that, that wraps everything up, and now we'd be happy to open it to any questions.
Before we do questions, if I could just interrupt for 1 second, everybody.
Sure.
I have colleagues here that'll be able to answer your questions. Unfortunately, I have a meeting with my boss, the provost of the university, in just a couple minutes. That is an in-person meeting, so I need to log off and walk across our campus to join that meeting. But I looked through the questions, and there's colleagues here who can answer those for you. I just want to say again, it was a pleasure to speak with all of you and to thank our partners at Education USA for setting up our session with you this evening. So thank you all, and I'll leave you in good hands.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Right. Kayla, do you see the questions? Don't
Yes,
know.
so there's some in the Q&A tab, as well as Sidra just asked, what is the last date to apply?
Yeah, so for the School of Diplomacy, all of our programs are on or have rolling admission. So, but you do have to consider especially if you're coming from Pakistan, that you need to get a visa, make travel arrangements and whatnot there. So we do continue to accept applications up to basically the start of the semester, which is the last week in August. But you do have to take into consideration, I mean, if you're looking to come for fall and if you're coming from Pakistan, I would suggest applying almost immediately so you can start coordinating everything after your acceptance. Like I said, that student visa, traveling here, finding housing, and whatnot. So definitely would recommend if you're looking for fall to start the application ASAP.
Okay, I don't know, can you see the Q&A section at the bottom of your screen, Ryan?
Not with the PowerPoint up. I guess I could take that off, I think. So
Okay.
let me see if I can. There we go. Q&A. Yep. So I know we went over scholarships. We definitely have our graduate merit scholarship that can get up to 60%, as well as the School of Diplomacy does have additional scholarships they can give, which could go on top of that graduate merit scholarship. Lots of scholarship questions, it looks like. Rana, looks like you have a very specific question about your GPA and whatnot. Uh, oh, you're looking for a PhD program. So we do not have PhD programs at the within our School of Diplomacy and International Relations, only at the master's level. See more scholarship questions.
I know that Fahad
Scholarships.
asked, how can one apply for a graduate assistantship at Seton Hall? I can take
Oh,
that.
okay, sure. Go for it.
So for that one, it is a job that you do apply to. So once you're accepted into the university, what you do is you go to setonhall.com/job listings, and you can click on the tab to filter out graduate assistantships. Uh, for that, it is like a regular job application. You do have to submit, and then you wait for the hiring committee to reach back out to you if you are selected for an interview. And once you go through the interview process, they will reach out to you with their decision. Like Ryan mentioned before, there are full-time graduate assistantships and then there are part-time graduate assistantships. Full-time requires you to work for 20 hours a week, and that covers 12 credits, which is pretty much a full course load for the semester. And they do give you a stipend as well for the half or part-time graduate assistantship that is around 10 hours per week that covers 6 credits, and that also comes with a stipend as well. So it does cover majority of your credits, if not all of your credits. And I will state that yes, it covers your credits. However, there are fees within your tuition that will not cover. So you will have to pay your fees out of pocket. And the stipend is not that much, so you can't sustain yourself on it, however. But it does help a bit, if that answered your question.
Thank you, Kayla. I see one about GRE. The GRE is not required for our School of Diplomacy and International Relations. IELTS would be required for international students. The score required there is a 6.0.
I feel like there is a question for Father Brian. I think someone just asked, Izazullah asked, if someone has a bachelor's degree in engineering, are they eligible?
So the short answer to that is yes, as long as you have an undergraduate degree, it is possible to apply to the master's program. Also, in case it is of general interest, someone else asked specifically of me in the chat, could I share the link and source of online courses which are being offered? And I replied by typing the online courses are only available to students who are enrolled in them. But I'm mentioning that out loud now in case there are people who are listening in but can't see the chat.
Wonderful. More PhD. What's the last date to apply? Yeah, it looks like some more maybe online questions. Can you please repeat the online program? We do have well, a couple online programs. One is our MS in International Affairs. We also have the MS in International Affairs and Diplomatic Practice, which is co-taught with UNITAR. And then our MS in Homeland Security and Cyber Resilience is also fully online. None of them can I enroll into the JD via line. The JD program is not online. I do see fee structure. So the fee structure is all based on, the number of credits of the program that you're entering. The MA in Diplomacy and International Relations is 45 credits. All of our MS programs are 30 credits. Each credit costs $1,585. So you can do the calculations there. The 30 credit programs are right around 47,000 some dollars in total. The MA is around a little over $70,000. You do pay by semester based on the number of credits you pay, so you don't have to pay that full tuition upfront by any means. You pay by semester, and then of course, as we mentioned, there are a number of scholarship opportunities as well. Oh, I guess we got a question
Can I
for
share
Safwan.
a little bit of my
Yeah.
experience when
Yep.
it comes to the scholarships? Because being a Pakistani student, maybe it will be very helpful for the students. So I basically when I finished my degree, the first thing I did was I did the IELTS exam. Once I have that, and then I applied for the School of Diplomacy. And as just Ryan mentioned, they had the merit scholarship. Once you get the merit scholarship, and then you apply for the assistantship based on your profile and your your overall standing. And then if you get that, you can combine both of those scholarships, the merit scholarship and the research assistantship scholarship. Meanwhile, while you're on the campus, you can apply to different graduate assistantships that are offered in different departments, even in the administrative departments too. So it covers almost like 60% of your fee overall. And if you are able to secure a graduate assistantship in different department, you can, for full credits, you can have your fee waived too, like for the 12 credits.
Okay. I think we've pretty much got all the questions. Guess we can wrap it up. Well, definitely thank you everyone once again for joining us today. It was wonderful to be able to share a little bit about Seton Hall and our School of Diplomacy and International Relations. We hope we've been able to answer all of your questions and give you an idea of what it would be like to study here and all the real advantages of studying at Seton Hall and our School of Diplomacy are. So thank you once again for joining us, and feel free to reach out if you have any further questions. I put our general email that comes to me, and if you have questions for other people, like for Father Muzas, I can definitely share them with him, or for uh, Dr. Courtney Smith, no problem there. But yeah, so thank you once again. Have a good night. It was a pleasure.
Good night, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you.